This is Daily Armenia, CivilNet's daily news digest. Here's what you need to know today. The number of registered residents of Nagorno-Karabakh who have left Armenia and not returned for the period of September 25th through December 14th is 6,636. This is according to Armenia's National Security Service, which monitors entry and exit through the republic's borders. This statistic refutes widespread unsourced claims spread online that the actual number of residents who have already left is as high as 25,000, or 1/4 of the total population ethnically cleansed into Armenia this September. The large rumored number was seen as an indictment of the government's ability to care for the displaced, a notion which has been greatly speculated by critics. However, as it has been only 3 months since their arrival, this amount is still developing and could grow much larger in the future if their needs aren't met. Prime Minister Pashinyan first announced on October 12th that the number of displaced Artsakh citizens who had so far left Armenia was 2,500 people. He has reiterated multiple times that the government will do everything to ensure that the people of Artsakh remain in Armenia. The National Security Service also detailed that as of last week, a total of 11,741 Artsakh residents had left Armenia by air or land at some point during the stated period. However, 5,105 of those have since returned. Russia expects Prime Minister Pashinyan will accept an invitation to St. Petersburg to take part in 2 events next week: the Supreme Council of the Eurasian Economic Union and an informal meeting of the Commonwealth of Independent States. Spokeswoman of the Russian Foreign Ministry, Maria Zakharova, announced this at her weekly press conference yesterday, noting that Moscow is ready to resolve all issues with Yerevan in a constructive way. Armenia has not publicly announced whether it will participate, though last month Parliament Speaker Alen Simonyan stated that as Armenia is scheduled to take over as the body's presiding country for 2024, he felt it should be at the meeting to accept the responsibility. This participation would be notable as high-ranking Armenian officials have refused to take part in meetings of Moscow-led organizations amid deteriorating relations between the two countries. For example, this Tuesday, Armenia did not attend a meeting of the Collective Security Treaty Organization Military Alliance in Moscow. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov similarly stated in late November that Moscow was awaiting Pashinyan's participation and that it would be a great opportunity for dialogue. Some have also speculated about the possibility of a trilateral meeting between the leaders of Russia, Azerbaijan, and Armenia if Pashinyan attends. However, Armenia has distanced itself from Russian mediation in favor of Western platforms. In newly announced numbers, the International Monetary Fund reported that Armenia has taken the lead in gross domestic product among the 3 South Caucasus nations. According to its calculations, the GDP per capita in Armenia will amount to $8,280 for 2023, with Georgia just behind at $8,160. Azerbaijan is in last place this year at $7,530, whereas last year it led the group while Armenia trailed. Gas and oil are 2/3 of Azerbaijan's GDP, making it one of the top 10 most fossil fuel-dependent economies in the world. Meanwhile, Armenia's GDP has been growing rapidly since the start of the war in Ukraine, propelled by the economic activity created by the influx of Russian migrants. As for other numbers in the region, Iran trails all 3 countries with a GDP of just $4,230 per capita, while both Turkey and Russia are approximately $13,000 each. If you understand Armenian, check out CivilNet's 2-part series on the pollution of the Debed River in Lori. The Debed has serious ecological problems which have multiple causes, including mining, hydroelectric plants, and pollution. Residents are being adversely affected by the environment, but the government doesn't appear to have a plan to remedy the situation. Part 2 of the report follows the river across the border into Georgia, where it faces further negative impacts. On this week's episode of Insights, Eric Hakopian analyzes Russian President Vladimir Putin's recent comments on Armenia. He also delves into the meaning behind the open letter sent by Armenian Foreign Minister Ararat Mirzoyan to members of the European Parliament regarding Armenia's aspirations to grow closer to Europe. You can find links to the show and the debit report in this video's description. And as always, please follow CivilNet for the latest news and independent reporting from our contributors on the ground in Armenia.